Oh my gosh, Jessie. Hello. It is podcast day.
My favorite day of the week.
Oh my gosh. We're already at episode 14 in our baby podcast, Online People Talking.
It's been so fun. It
I
really
know.
is. It's like one of those passion projects you didn't even know you neneeded. We
Well,
have fun
let's
doing it too.
oh my gosh, we have so much fun. Well, let's get right into it because we got some, I'm about to pee my pants. I'm so excited. So, first off, what are online people talking about right now? What are you hearing?
Well, it's kind of like, what am I not hearing? I don't know. It's kind of
Oh,
quiet.
yes.
I'm hoping people are in the zone because it's the busy season right now. It's the selling season.
Okay.
It's everybody's attention is like hyper focused on lead conversion. But not a ton of grumblings, not a ton of, anything. It's kind of quiet.
So is it
So,
so in your mind you're kind of like no news is good news? People just
yeah,
have their nose to the ground. So I guess the worried mom and me goes,
Mama Jen.
I go, okay, like nobody's really talking like on calls, like I'm not feeling, I'm getting a vibe. Like, do we need some motivation? Do we need a tude check? Is everybody feeling a little rusty?
We
Or
need
we
a
need to
gentervention.
do we need a gentervention? I think we need a Rondavention. Well, that's a little sneak peek at our special guest today. But again, like I'm feeling like, are we just super busy? But do we need to find the passion in our role again? Somehow that's gotten kind of lost along the way. And I can remember being in the seat for quite some time and getting to a place where I was like, okay, like different day, same process. Like, how am I adding that passion back into my role? And that's when I started incorporating the dog stuff, right?
Mhm.
What about you, Jessie? How'd you bring passion back in?
Well, it's funny because I was doing an interview earlier today and I said, hey, do you have any questions for me? Knowing I've been on the front lines before. And they said, well, what was your favorite thing about being an online sales specialist? And like immediately that excitement that like I had being in the role and being the face and the voice of the organization just came
Yeah.
right back in. And so I think just putting myself back in that seat for a minute allowed me to feel all of the feelings that I think we all feel when we're new in the seat.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit of effort to keep that going, but to find the positive in it. So I don't
Mm,
know.
all about perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta have the Rondavention. So, guys, let's give a warm online people talking welcome to our guest today, Ronda Conger. Some say she was raised by wolves. I love this bio so much. Others claim truckers. No matter what her upbringing, this superwoman has flourished in a male dominated industry. She is VP of CBH Homes, Idaho's largest home builders. But in addition to that, guys, she was named 2021 NHB Woman of the Year by the National Association of Home Builders, recognized as most influential women leader to watch in 2023. Oh, I just can't I just can't even believe we have her here on. She is an author. I have all her books. Rhonda, all your books are right here. She's an author,
Yes.
Better Human, Better Thinking, You Go First, Leading Through Extraordinary Times, and her latest book, New Market, New You. And my favorite thing of your bio says that it's been rumored your high energy and passion comes from Red Bulls, but really it comes from your hot husband.
Oh,
I mean, come on. Uh,
chef's kiss.
uh, Welcome to Online People Talking. We are so excited that you're here.
No, and I have to tell you, okay, I love that you call it a baby podcast, which is amazing. I love this. And then I have to tell you though, you said you mentioned something about the need. And I have to tell you, there is a huge need for this. So huge thank you to you two for doing this, right? This has grown. I've drank the online Kool-Aid for a lot of years. I am a number one fan. I'm a number one believer. I hope that I was close to one of the first early adapters. And so this, I'm like, yes, yes, and
Mm,
yes. And then to have a podcast where all these amazing unicorns, in my opinion, special humans can come together and grow and learn from people like, I love Jessie. You're like, I was in the saddle, I was in the seat, right? I've been there, I know. And then and then Jen, yes. And then to invite me, what? Yes.
Oh my gosh. No, nobody better. Like, hey, if we need a passionated Zap, who better? I mean, Jessie, what are your, being in the saddle, in the seat when you first saw Rhonda speak at one of our summits, right? Was that like 2018?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It feels like, and just yesterday. And what stood out to me, Rhonda, is I know your motto is always love wins and I want to try it all. And what my favorite thing about that is your message is still the same today as it was then. And so just the consistency and watching you kind of pioneer the industry with your positivity is just so amazing. So thank you.
Thanks, Jessie.
Heck yeah.
Appreciate it.
You've actually, listen, last year you spoke at our summit too. So you're a two-time summit speaker.
I'm always honored. I'm like, thank you.
Well, I just want you to know, because I don't know if I've said this to you, but I want to look you in the eyeballs and say that we had so many online sales specialists come up to us afterwards and even just weeks after that and say, Rhonda just left us with so much that day. Like, you filled their cup. And so hopefully in the next 13 minutes, you can fill,
do my best.
You can fill up some ears with your love. Okay. So you already mentioned like how important you feel like online sales specialists are. And that means so much coming from, you're a big time leader at a big time builder, and hearing you as a VP say that. So how do you see online sales being like the impact, like making an impact in organizations and for you specifically?
Well, I have to say, first of all, if a builder doesn't have one, God help them. Okay.
Right?
So I can't imagine a life without online. Like I said that a bajillion years ago. Like I said, we've done this for a lot of years. And so I meant it then, and then you can go to right here, right now and say that we all know that it's not about the model homes anymore. I don't care what anyone says. It's about the internet. It's about speed to lead. It's about getting to a human. And so if that's what the game and that's where success lies, then I just gave you the playbook for online salesperson. Right?
Yeah.
So what more do you, so if you don't believe, or if you don't have one, I'm just going to look at you sideways. Like, right? Like, I was gonna be like, what?
Right. It's like 2024. Like, what are you doing?
Like, if you like hit your head, like what's going on?
Yeah.
And I think that's where I look at this and I think, just think about that. Internet is where it is.
Mm-hmm.
People want fast answers, right? They do want help. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, the internet is great. And yes, your website's beautiful. God bless you. And yes, you have model home, I guess. I do not. But at the end of the day, they want to get in front of, they want to talk to someone quickly, speed to lead, talk to someone, they want their questions answered. And so to me, online is quite possibly the most important thing.
Right. I think with so many buyers feeling uncertain or having trust issues with builders right now too, like, I don't know, like, having that person on the front line start that process of building trust is crucial.
Well, and I believe you are 100% spot on in that. I'm so biased with my sales team. Like, they're delicious. They complete me. I love them. I would tell you though, that online initial is huge. It just kind of breaks down some barriers. It opens up trust. It's non-threatening. It feels good. You're an information source, and it makes it really great for the handoff, in my opinion.
Yeah. Jessie, we just spoke about AI on our last podcast. And just, what were your thoughts there and with Rhonda's human connection conversation?
Well, I think she talked just everything we need to talk about. I mean, it will never replace you if you are human centered. And the idea of connecting with somebody like you were talking about, Rhonda, that isn't the salesy portion of the sales journey. Like, online sales job isn't to sell the home. It's to sell the idea of home ownership with your company. And so to be able to have that person to be the education piece, AI doesn't know education for your builder specifically, so they'll never replace you. So I think Rhonda, what do you think?
So, and it's funny because we have AI things going on as well, and I love it. I'm your girl. You know me. I'm going to be an early adopter. I'm going to go for it. I
Yeah.
love it. I'm here for all of it. I firmly believe you will never replace a human. I don't care what anyone
Mhm.
says. I just don't.
Yeah.
You'll replace a few bad ones, sure. I'll give you that.
Preach.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to launch our AI journey. But I just hired more online salespeople along with my AI. And here's why.
Interesting. Yeah.
And this is how I look at it. This is what I'll tell you. And you should tell everyone else to do the same thing, will you? Here's what I would tell you. AI is wonderful and can take the edge off of some conversations that maybe you don't need to be a part of, or they can get to you quicker. But
Mhm.
based on, if you like, go back to my earlier comment when I said that we all know everything starts with your website. We know all the traffic is coming to you through your website. It really is, okay? Large amounts. So our strategy is that, yes, AI can help us, so we're 24/7. So there's that. But then it can also help us so that, in my opinion, what's going to happen is that the online salespeople are going to have better conversations. This isn't about replacing an OSC. This is about letting the OSC have better conversations because they've vetted out some easy questions, some easy things, and then they're able to focus on that. So that's side one, 24/7, better conversations with more information up front. Because as we know with AI, sometimes they'll probably answer questions to an AI that they wouldn't do to an online, right?
Right.
So maybe that's still going to feed to the online salesperson, in my opinion. OSE. So they get that. And then I think what it also does is I want my online people to be doing more and more follow up. And what happens is when you have a lot of leads coming at you, you're trying to move very fast. And I don't think you can do some of that long-term follow through that you could and should be doing. And so in my opinion, that AI helps with that as well. I think it's 100% an enhancement. I think it helps you, but I just hired 2 more OSCs. I'm not letting anyone go because of it. I'm not saying I need less. I'm saying
It's not a replacement. It's an
no,
assistant. It's a tool.
it's an assistant. It's just a tool to help us all. That's all it is.
That's exactly what we were saying. Is like, don't freak out about it. It's an assistant. It's not going to replace you, but be better than the bot though, is what I told online sales.
You have to think about all of us in any industry that we use bots.
Yeah.
Within 4 or 5 clicks or whatever talk, you're like, give me a rep. Give me a rep. Give me a rep.
Yes.
Rep.
Yes, exactly.
So you need both. So tell OSCs it's going to make it even better, in my opinion.
Well, thank you for saying that. So online sales specialist, you heard it from Rhonda, chill, right? But use it as an assistant. Now I want to go back to something you just said. You were talking about prospecting, which is, that's like one of our love languages over here. And I heard you say one time, and I want to just get some clarification on your thoughts. You were like, look, my salespeople prospect for like 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And I was thinking to myself, say what? Is this true? And how do you get them to do that?
Well, this is the best question I've had all day. I've had a lot. Okay, but can I ask an alternate question?
Yeah.
What are they? What's the alternative? Like Candy Crush? What? I don't get it.
Oh, but I'm so busy. I'm so busy.
Doing what? Doing what? Explain yourself. Show me the dirty novel you're reading. What's going on? No, I'm naughty. I'm naughty, you too. So here's the deal. I have a whole structure, I believe, in prospecting and leads, speed to lead, and, our handoffs from our online to our salespeople. Our salespeople, our motto is they stay in the lane of A's and B's. So all day long, they're prospecting, they're talking to A's and B's all day long. And that's all they're doing. So 4 hours, I'm fairly offended that it's only 4. I guarantee you my crew clocks more than that. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
Okay. So I just think, and we watch it. We have dashboards, we have trackers. They're always competing against themselves, their team, to see, how many phone calls outbound, how many inbound, how many Salesforce activities.
I like it.
I'm like, what do you mean? There's no mystery. I know exactly what they're doing. And we know pretty much how many calls in and out, how many text messages, how many emails, how many activities you have to have per day to hit your sales quota. So it's not left to guess, or we hope that they do. We know that they are. Like, what else are they doing? That's their job.
Well, I mean, preach.
Yeah, they're the elite, but they're held to that standard. That's why you're meeting the goals that you're meeting.
So what you just said there is, so we get this a lot, Rhonda, with like, as sales leaders, how do we hold our online sales accountable? How do we hold our sales team accountable? And what you just said is you're tracking everything, but you're also looking at it and asking the questions.
Yeah.
It's one thing to get the data, but if you're not asking the questions around it.
Well, first of all, back up. So you set the expectations. Like, we know, based on it, watching sales and activities and all of this, we know where the goalposts are, how many, emails, how many texts, how many, we can almost tell you how many people are going to show up at our event, our open house event on Saturday, based on how many phone calls, texts, emails that we send our database. So, and then we watch that all week, right? And if you don't hit that, then we don't have the traffic, and then here pretty soon, right? Like, so I think it's set the goalposts. What is the requirement? Have a dashboard, watch the dashboard. And when they're not doing it, it's accountability time, right? It's a moment to coach.
Yeah. Switching gears to like the online and on-site connection. I think Jessie had a question for you about this.
Yeah, that's where my brain went. It was like you're reading my mind, Jen. You were talking about, holding on-site accountable, holding online accountable. And sometimes there seems to be just this disconnect between two divisions. Like they're either almost working against each other, or they just don't speak the same language. So what advice do you have for OSCs listening that might be experiencing that disconnect?
I agree. And I'll be honest, over the years, we've kind of had it a little bit in and out. It just depends. And I don't honestly know where it comes from. I do think it comes from, you have two motivated, humans, sales, and here's what I would ask. Are you all on the same team, all going the same direction? And is anyone being penalized or compensated in a way that would make them compete against each other? So I have zero competition going between these two. My two teams realize that it's a complete handoff situation, open palm. There's no, I got it, it's mine. So there's no infighting. The leads are all of ours, and we just have the motto of speed to lead. How do we get to them faster? And then we call ours, new home advisors. Our new home advisors, their number one goal is to get them to a sales agent quickly. If they're within that A to B range, if they're long-term, then their goal is to hold them and get them to that appointment as fast as possible.
Okay.
So I guess I would ask the question, if you have infighting, it's because you haven't set it up as a team sport. You haven't shown how, you could use the analogy of the, the people who run around the track and pass the baton. What is that called? Relay race, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, like the relay where you're passing the baton.
To me, it is a relay race. We're all trying to win it. We're all trying to win it. And this is what it's going to take. And all I want to know is you're going to work your tail off to get us that lead. And then you're going to hand me the baton being the salesperson, and I'm going to get us to the finish line. And is everyone compensated in that fashion? Does everyone understand that role, and we're not competing or taking each other's jobs?
Yeah. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's got to start with leadership down of setting this up as a team dynamic, right? Not just like you're over there, I'm over there, and you're competing, because then that creates instant friction, right?
Okay, but you said earlier, Jessie, I can't remember if it was you or Jen, that you said, oh God, it was so good. You were like, online salespeople are not salespeople. They feel very different, right? That's why people like them, is because they're build trust, they're non-threatening, they have a lot of information. They're not like, and I will tell you the difference between my online people and my salespeople. Like, I love my salespeople, but they're savages. I mean, you're going, right? Like, you're going down today, my friend.
That's
and
right.
The online people are like, come here, let me give you a hug. Right? Like, let me help you. I love you.
It's different DNA.
Yep. And that's how we hire for, and that's what it should look like.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like that threat, kind of taking it back, like it's the filter before the filter. If we go back to AI, like online sales feels a little bit of a threat having AI come in. That's
Yeah.
the first filter. And then we in online sales world are the second filter
Yep.
before it gets to onsite. So it's kind of that threat that trickles down. You got to kind of flip it around.
Yeah. You're all trying to
Okay.
win the race and you all have the baton and you got to get to the finish line together, right? Like at the end of the day, it takes all of you, in my opinion.
So do you think online sales, if they're continuing to have an issue, like do they go to leadership? Like what's their advice? Like what, I mean,
I think I definitely think leadership, hopefully the leadership gets it and is open and right. Have them call me if they don't. And I think
okay, you heard it.
I
Write
heard
it
it
down.
live. The other thing I would say is, our online advisors have done a great job of building relationships with our sales team. They're at every sales meeting, they go to every sales function. We are one team, we're not divided. Can you go to some of the salespeople that maybe aren't working as well and rubbing and talking it out? Like, how do I offend you? Or why do you seem angry by me? Do you understand my role? Can I understand, can I show you how I'm going to enhance yours? So to me, I think it could be two-pronged, right? Run at the salespeople if salespeople are not, and we had a couple salespeople in the past that I'll tell you, it definitely rubbed them the wrong way. And we'd be like, listen, you're
let me rub you the right way.
yeah, like give me a hot minute.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like be proactive and insert yourself in their world. Don't just stand over there and go, well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and they don't like me. No, go make them like you. Make them understand what you do. Yeah.
Well, I think what's even more important about that is you have to have the relationship because you're handing off that buyer and you want to be like, I love Sarah. She's amazing. Wait till you meet her. Let me hand her up, right? Like, you want to be like, let me get you that chick over there. That
exactly.
You got to have it.
Okay. I have to ask you the sign behind you. She's so lucky, crossed out. She worked hard.
Oh, don't make me cry on this podcast, but I will keep it together for you. So that was a Christmas present from my youngest son this past December. And I don't know, you guys, I think you met him or you might have seen him. He is a home builder in Fort Worth,
in Texas.
22, and I just love him. And so he had this made for me. And at Christmas, I opened it and I was like looking at him and he was like, Mom, I had front row seats to how hard you worked all these years and everything that you've accomplished. And I've heard people be like, your mom's so lucky. And he's like, and I just want to make sure that everyone's very clear that you worked really hard for everything you have in your life. Oh, I know. I'm going to try to keep it together. I know. So it got front row in my office for sure.
Rhonda, my son is 20 and he just got into the business. He's working on site and selling new homes.
Yes.
And he went to the builder show with me. This was, first time in Vegas, first time at the builder show. And just like seeing that like through his eyes, and he was like it just was so cool. So
I'll say it, Jen. He was like, I didn't know how cool you were, Mom. Like, I knew you were cool, but like, I didn't know how cool you were. Everybody.
But I've worked hard for a long time in the industry. So like, but I just love that. I mean, I have to know, you being a businesswoman for how many years have you been in the industry? Like,
in the industry, 30 years.
30 years in the industry. At what point or what was the trigger that made you decide like, I'm going to write a book or I want to inspire others? Like, was there something that happened? Like,
I think what happens a little bit, and you guys are doing it, by the way, so I love this, is that what happens is when you love what you do and you're passionate, you're going to be good at it. Right. And so, as I, grew in my roles and my position, I was always asked to speak and to talk. And I'm obviously a very energetic human, right? I have a lot of passion. I want to share everything.
Yeah.
And so I think but you got to remember, in my opinion, part of that comes from a good part of it. Yes, it's my DNA, but on the other side of that is my passion for what I do and for the love of what I do. And so it makes me really easy to talk to. And then what happened as I grew and I was in leadership and I started having more and more people around me, and had just the blessing to have all these people, I realized that they needed more than just home building out of me. They needed life skills, they needed love, they needed positivity, they needed support, they needed, right? So I realized I started talking about that more and more. And I don't ever market or pitch that I speak or that I do anything. So
Yeah.
every speech or speaking thing that I do, it's because someone has heard me and someone has asked about me. And I've done some of the craziest ones, but I always say it must just be what's needed of me, and I'll do it. So, it just kind of kept growing and growing and growing and growing. And it's great. I love to give back, and I want to give my passion and energy towards home building and towards life. It's twofold for me. And then, on the book side, it was probably 6, 7 years ago. I got done with one of, my talks, and this guy came up and he handed me his card, and he just says, "Will you send me your book?" And I was like, "I don't have a book." He's like, "Well, you will." And by then
Oh,
I'm not going to kid you. By then I had been asked 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 different like times over the years. "Can I buy your book? Can I buy your book? Can I buy your book?" And I was like, I just got to do it. Right. I just got to do it. So sometimes you're not always like, here's what I think you have to understand. You're not always just going to like know. Like I'm not going to tell you that at age 5 years old, I was dreaming of writing a book
no.
or
Yeah.
speaking. No, it's kind of what you grow into, what
Mhm.
you love, what you're good at, what speaks to you. Just like you girls doing this podcast. I think
Yeah.
it's huge. It's the exact same thing. You're really good at it. You have passion towards it, right? You want to
Yeah.
help all of these people. You're doing it.
This organically kind of happens
It's
because you're
organic. Yeah.
passionate. I mean, that's so I feel that because that's kind of how I think Jessie too, like how we ended up being coaches. I mean, I was in the industry. I was a realtor. I was
Yeah.
an online sales specialist. And then because I was so passionate about the role
Yeah.
is how I ended up at Do You Convert, and being able to talk about it. Like you're saying, it comes naturally because you are so passionate about it.
And people
Um,
want to hear from authentic
yeah.
people who are good at what they do, who love what they
Yeah.
do, who have energy towards it. It's like a
Yeah.
magnet. Just like, give
Yeah.
me some of that.
I think some of the most successful people too look for the success in others. Like that's
Oh,
what makes a good
Yeah.
leader is like you can be passionate, but you also have to be like, I'm going to pour into this person until they find their passion.
oh yeah. Do you see what I see? Because you're so amazing. Do you see what I see? Right? Like you two today, even talking to you, I'm like, oh my God. Yes. Like amazing things, like just amazing things.
Mwah. Okay, Jessie, what's your last question for Rhonda?
I was thinking of all the questions in the world that I wanted to ask you. And
Okay.
this is my favorite one. Okay.
Okay.
So you inspire so many people. That's very obvious. But who inspired you or who inspires you? Is there a person, a couple of people, an experience? Like what was it?
I would say I love, you've probably heard quotes around this, or I love the doers. I love seeing, and I mean it, you two doing this podcast, you two helping all these online salespeople, Mike Lyon and creating Do You Convert and creating this whole new genre that is needed and changing the way we sell houses so many years ago. And I will tell you, I read a ton. I'm a watcher too. So I'm reading, watching, listening, following. And so it's truly everybody and anybody. I've always been that way. Because I don't know if you know that I always say I'm a type of learner, and I think some people learn this way, some people learn other ways. But like I've gone through my entire life from when I was a little girl all the way to now, and I'll see something and I'll be like, no, yes, 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 right? No, 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 right? And so that's how I feel, how I've built my life is I just keep reading, watching, and listening for the signs and people that inspire me and keep kind of moving toward that. And what's interesting to me is those people are drawn to me, which I love. I just had a great day. I spent the day with John Gordon and Patrick Lencioni. Do you guys know John Gordon, Energy Bus and Power of Positive? Oh my Lord. Okay. Google him. Oh my God.
Okay.
Amazing books.
Yeah,
Patrick
noted.
Lencioni, one of the top author, and it's so funny. If you 10 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you that I got to spend the day with those two. And I just did. And it was amazing. And I think that that's what happens because likes like, right? And you're kind of drawn to each other and that type of thing. So to answer that question, I would say I'm inspired by the doers. I'm inspired by humans that are doing really good things, right? That are loving humans. Like I just watched this whole fascinating thing on the Microsoft CEO and how he, right? Like, so you could every single day, you're not going to know, Jessie, who's inspiring me, but it's going to be a lot of people. And then there's a lot of people who aren't doing great things that inspire me. I'm like, note to self, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Note to self, Rhonda, write that down.
Yeah, note to self. No.
Don't do that.
Okay, last question for me is, do we need to go get the Steve Madden boots?
I'm trying to think. Oh, I have a different pair on today. You know, I have boots, right? I have boots on. It's written.
Have you always been like the boot gal?
Yes,
like,
I don't think I have it. I don't have it with me right now. I'm a boot junkie, like to my core, and I always have been. Someone in my office the other day, a gentleman that I just love and adore, one of my managers, he was like, Brenda, I'm pretty sure you were born with boots on. I'm like, pretty much. I think this is just a side note, and it's fascinating and fun, and there's no room for sadness in this, so please don't allow it to creep in. So my mother passed when I was 3, so I had 0 time with her, and all I have is like a couple pictures, not even that many, to be honest with you. The fascinating thing is that she was obsessed with boots. And so there's been some photos kind of surfacing lately for one reason or another, and she's all in boots. And then like there's this photo of me, it's like a professional photo of me sitting on the desk with my boots on. And my mother, unbeknownst to me, has the exact same photo and almost the exact same boots on.
oh my gosh, chills.
I know. So I do think it was something that
Just meant to be.
Yeah, she gave to me, and I didn't even know she was giving that to me, but she did. And so yeah, it's just who I am. I love them. Like
This
literally.
podcast is sponsored by Steve Madden boots.
I own every color. I own every color. Just know that.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have just inserted your energy into us. I know that I am feeling so just my cup is filled. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and spending some time with us on Online People Talking. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm telling you, absolute favorite. You know how I feel about all of you. You're doing the most amazing work needed. This podcast, chef's kiss, and then everyone, all your online, incredibly talented unicorns. Nothing but love for all of them. Say hi to Mike Lyon.
I will.
I just love him so much. Hi, Mike Lyon. Just love him so much. And thank you for having me. Nothing but love. Nothing but love.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Yes, thank you.
Oh man, Jessie, how freaking awesome was that?
Isn't she just the best? It's like amazing. I said it, before, but it could be rainy, and when she's here, it's sunny. So it just feels good.
Oh, feels so good. Listen, we want to share some Rhonda with you. So here's a challenge. Email us at show@doyouconvert with a video email question. Burning question that you have regarding online sales. Put OPT question in the subject line. And again, email it to show@doyouconvert, and we will send you one of Rhonda's books. So yes. So make sure you get that over to us. Okay. Last but not least, we got a skills check because what, Jessie?
You got to check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yes, you do, says Ice Cube. So skills check this week, something a little different. We're going to do a mental skills check. So Rhonda's message has got me sitting here thinking, okay, like let's get our perspectives straight. Let's do a mental skills check. What am I grateful for right now? What am I, looking forward to? I like to think about it like what's the rose, what's the bud, like, here's what I'm happy about, here's what I'm looking forward to. And then who inspires you? Write these things down and take some time to reflect on that. How can you incorporate some passion or a different perspective into your role, right? It is a game changer when you can have that perspective shift. Jessie, any last thoughts on that?
No, I just think one of the biggest things, being a busy online sales specialist or leader or anybody else who might be listening to this, the biggest takeaway is Rhonda is a busy person and she still takes time to read and listen and watch. And that's where she finds her inspiration. So if you feel like it's hard to answer that question, like you're like, I don't know what I'm inspired by. I don't know what I'm passionate about. I don't know what success looks like for me. Go find it. Like, you gotta find it.
Gotta go find it. All right. Until next time.
See you then.
See you then.
Bye.